Good morning. We're going to do a super short. We're going to go over the new units, the Shock Trooper and the Tic Tac Tank specifically. And after that, we'll be able to go over eventually on another episode, air units, tech units, and then all those special little units. Not necessarily in that order. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? Now, the new unit for GDI is the Shockwave Trooper. The Shockwave Trooper is just like a Flame Trooper. With the last update, they became very tanky. So this is a very good anti-infantry unit. It's expensive. It actually costs more than, say, a buggy, but it is actually much better at killing infantry than a buggy. Now, obviously, it won't do any better, I believe, than a Flame Trooper when fighting vehicles or up against Flame Troopers. It's still going to lose to Chemical Troopers because it doesn't have range unless you can close that gap. And it's a little slow, so that's hard to do. It might not win against Sniper Troopers, and because you have to get in close, unless it's distracted, it's still not even going to win against the Scarabs. So there are some infantry that it does not deal with very well. And because it's slower than even Riflemen, I still think Riflemen are better at fighting these guys, the Jetpack Troopers. So it's not really... If someone's spamming infantry, lots of Riflemen, lots of Rocket Squads, it is beautiful for them. If somebody decides to build high-tech units, like Cyborgs or Zone Troopers, which have gotten a significant buff, it's really great against them. So that is its primary goal. And against buildings, it's all right. So if you're fighting, like, say, a turret or something, you can get it out of there faster if you need to. Honestly, I'd usually just wait for them to run out, unless it's the Obelisk, which... then I'd rather use a bomber or some air unit it won't shoot back at. Yeah, this could take an Obelisk down pretty effectively. Again, depending on level and the level of the Obelisk and other stuff and upgrades. Maybe it would just help take it down. But it's an awesome troop. And does it say anything else? It does reveal stealth units. That's really just it. Comes out of barracks. Very basic unit. Now, a very different new unit we have with the update is the Tic Tac Tank. And you all have probably heard me already say, I did not like the Tic Tac Tank on paper. It looks bad to me. A lot of people are like, oh, I love it, it's great. There's a lot of high-level players carrying themselves using this tank in high-ranked matches, so it is useful. I'm still not a big fan of it. But it is essentially a tank. It can move and fire. It costs 20 Tiberium more. It's an 80 cost instead of a 60 cost. Still comes out of the War Factory. Still only good against vehicles. Very bad against infantry. Very bad against air. It doesn't fight air at all. The difference is it has almost half the health of the tank. A little bit more than half. And when it's not moving, it will burrow into the ground. This thing burrowed into the ground increases its defense. It actually reduces it. It says it reduces it by 50%. I've confirmed with the developer it is not 50%. It is 75%. So this thing actually becomes 4 times stronger when it is stationary. Which, since it's only got a little bit more than half the health of a tank, that actually makes it twice as strong as a tank when it's not moving. But it does take a few seconds to actually burrow. And the animation confuses me because now this could just be the timing, but I've not seen it actually fire while it's burrowing. So I think maybe for a second it might disable the gun. That is not something I can say for sure. It might not at all. That could just be, like I said, bad timing in what I've seen. But when I've had it burrowing, it's not been firing at the same time, or at least it does not appear to. Personally, I prefer the Scorpion tanks because they can move and still have that defensive buff. They can go into a battle. Like, if you need to charge an enemy unit with a Tic Tac tank, you can take massive damage before you can even burrow. You're not going to push into a battle with a Tic Tac tank. You can push into a battle with a Scorpion. You're not going to be moving and fighting against anything that can do damage against you decently with a Tic Tac tank to get it into a good position like you can with the Scorpion. The only time the Tic Tac tank is better is once you can get it to that command point or that key location and it burrows before anything gets to it. And once that happens, it can't move anyway. I mean, you could move it. It's like a mobile tower, sort of. But I mean, unless he brings a vehicle right within range of it, or he has to, like, to take that command point, it's not very useful, because if he just brings in, okay, you've got to take, what's he going to do? He's going to want to build a counter. Infantry, air, right? And when they send those in, you can't move your tic-tac-take. You have to be forced to fight those things and bring other units that can counter them in, either using artillery from behind it or from around it. It does make for a great wall unit. It does make for a very good defensive unit in holding that point. If you can hold that point, that might mean you get the missile, which might win you the game. It is very good. But it is only good, personally, in my opinion, 1/3 of the time. Because there's 3 ways you're going to use a unit usually. You're either going to push the enemy and then try to push him back. Going into battle with it. If you go into battle, tic-tac-take's bad. You're going to be maneuvering. You're in a hectic battle zone. You try to outmaneuver your opponent, get the right units to fight the wrong units, or the wrong, you know what I mean? If he's got a rocket squad up top and an APC down below, and you've got a rifleman and the tic-tac tank, you can't switch places with them. You know, you could do that with the Scorpion tank real easy. Have the Scorpion move 2 up, then the rifleman move 1 down, then the Scorpion stop just 1 up. And they just flip-flopped. You know, and you can do that as much as you need. He does the same thing, just do it again. And if you're both doing it, if he's doing it and you're doing it, you're going to win, because the Scorpion can move and fire at the same time. With the tic-tac tank, you can do that same thing, but you lose that defensive buff, making it essentially an attack bike, you know, for 80, but slower. And, I mean, well, look at my attack bikes here. My attack bikes have more health than my tic, and they're a higher level, mind you. 290 attack. So it does have significantly more attack, but I mean, its HP is going to be about the same as an attack bike of that level. But once it's burrowed, way better defense. It can hold off that rocket squad for a while. It could actually, you know, let that bomber be hitting it, and it will take, you know, twice as long to kill. So you will hold the point hopefully long enough to get off that missile if you burrow the tic-tac-take, and it's like a last-minute fight. And if he does decide, hey, he's going to come in with vehicles, if he's got a vehicle-only army, or if he doesn't have those infantry or can't use them because you've got, you know, say you've got an artillery unit that's really good against infantry behind it, like the actual Temple of Artillery here. You know, that just leaves him with air as a possibility. Literally, his only possibility, because if he comes in with vehicles to deal with the artillery's going to trash it, the tic-tac-take's going to trash it. I mean, technically, he could try to use artillery as well, but most artillery only have a range of 2. That thing has a range of 3. So you'll be able to bombard his artillery with your artillery, even if he's outside of the range of your tic-tac tank. So that is actually an amazing combo. Its only weakness, like I said, being air, and that's when you can have something on standby, like a stealth tank to roll in, blast the hell out of the air, and then move out, or a phantom. Again, those are burst units, though. So, you know, they hit, they pull back. You know, another good anti-air would be like your cyborgs or your confessors, but the last thing you want is 4 units that close together, especially if most people have powers that can wipe out groups of air people. 2 is great. If your opponent doesn't have air, then he's screwed. So that is an amazing combo against someone who has no air. Artillery, tic-tac-take. Those 2 right there. And just getting it down is hard to do. Like I said, 2/3 of the time, you're not going to be able to do that without it taking massive damage. But if you do it, it is a difficult unit for him to unentrench. He has to counter it with infantry or air or ranged units, and it's going to still take time. That time is what you're paying for. That time this is a short game. You don't win, you know, 30-minute matches, hour-long matches. Not even the average of 5 to 15 minutes was how long my matches were usually on Command & Conquer 3. On Rivals, my games go from a minute to 5 minutes. I've never seen a draw in my gameplay, but I've heard of people drawing like at 8 or 10 minutes. That's when the game doesn't even let you continue. It just says, okay, you're done. It's a draw. So being able to survive twice as long in a very short game when things are happening very fast. This is a very fast-paced game. That is huge. And you can still get up and move it if you have to. It's going to lose all that durability until it reburrows. So you can reposition it and try to do something, if you have to get it out of there, get it out of there. Like I've heard people say, it's like a mobile tower. Or just a weak tank that gets significantly buffed. But you definitely don't want to be fighting with this thing while it's mobile. Against something that's good against tanks. You need to watch out for that. I've seen an army with the chemical troopers fighting with the tic-tac tanks. You get chemical troopers for infantry. Tic-tac tanks are going to hold back the tanks. And then he just needed a lot of anti-air to support it with. Honestly, I forget what he was using for the anti-air. But that works out very well as well. Just pure superiority, straight up counters. That is going to be it for the short episode. Hope you all enjoy, and I've mentioned in one of my strategy episodes that I'm changing how I'm doing my stuff. I'm going to do a top 5 episode instead of a strategy episode, and those should be more streamlined for you guys. And I'll be going over new units pretty soon. Not new units, but units I haven't gone over yet, such as the stealth tank, the Giga Cannon, air units, tech units. Hope you all keep watching. Enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe.